We have a very special guest in studio today. He is the founder of Blind Spot Collective and the founder of thefelon.com, the great and powerful Jeff Fillers. Welcome to the show.
Welcome,
Thanks.
sir. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me here, guys. Look forward to this.
Yeah, man, I've been looking forward to really kind of sitting down and getting to know you because I've been seeing you around here for a long time, hung out with you a few times, and I just feel like you've got a lot of stories to tell and a lot of things to say. So, for the people out there that don't know you, Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you kind of get started in what you're doing now?
Well, just a little bit about myself. I'm from East Tennessee. I moved to St. Louis area in about 2006. Currently, my main focus is my children. And from there, to kind of give you an overall what I do and everything, I've got 3 college degrees in cybersecurity and information assurance and electrical engineering. And I spend a lot of my time playing sports and hanging out with everybody and being involved in community focused things. So that's kind of like what drives me every day.
Awesome. And so how did what kind of got you into the cybersecurity specifically?
So the cybersecurity side comes from my mom, actually. So when I was a small kid, my mom was worked in quality control for Magnavox TV in East Tennessee. So she used to bring home like little capacitors and resistors that were removed from TVs and was teaching me electronics. And that really sparked my interest growing up, just like, hey, this resistor does this. And then when they would leave me at home alone, I would actually take the TV apart and compare them and shock myself a few times, which was kind of awesome. And as I went through that, I really thought I was going to go down the electrical route, so I started learning a lot about that. And then one day my mom just said, hey, basically there's a job opening in IT at my work here. And I was like, oh. So I went and applied, got the job, didn't have a clue about that at all. I mean, I was starting to understand computers because I'd been on them since I was 13 in school and stuff. It was the old Commodores and things like that. So, so I took that ability to grow myself into learning computers and things. And then, I guess the curiosity side of me wanted to take it down. What can I do and get away with it? And which leads me to a lot of things, my thought process in life today. But I learned that I could basically, this is early 90s, I could basically take over anyone's computer I wanted.
So hacking.
Yeah. So it was, at the time, I guess it wasn't called ethical hacking. So it was just more like, oh, you have a computer? I want to see what you have on it. And I would just go around and get on everyone's computer, whether it was a bank computer, a law firm computer. It didn't matter what it was. I was like, I just curious what's on it. Didn't remove anything. Then I'd go tell you about it. And then I'll never forget one day I was doing that for...
You were doing this for like a company?
No, I was just playing around.
Oh, okay.
And kind of doing it as like, everybody else is out riding four-wheelers and doing those things. Well, I played sports and football and rugby and all those things, but like computers just kept drawing me back to it, so I wasn't a typical computer person that sat in a room with the doors closed all day. And that was all I thought about. I would just get my computer out and like, I think I can break this. And then I would just do it somehow. And it wasn't like I went to school or was focused on that or anything. And then, I decided at that point, I wanted to open up my own consulting company. And, so by doing that, I started trying to get business, and I went to the bank, one of my customers, and said, hey, just want to let you know, I can get into my bank account and see my bank and information and those numbers and everything. I just kind of want to show you, but I can also show you how to fix that. And he educated me really quick on how that was a federal offense by, getting into my bank account. But that led me to my first customer. And it's one of those things where you look at it and you laugh now, like, how much trouble I would have been in today's times versus the early 90s. That those vulnerabilities. But from there, it became common sense. And it's like, if you had a task and say, "Hey, can you do this?" It's like, "Oh, sure, I can do that." And so that kept driving me more into the security side and understanding. I taught myself how to pick locks and disable alarms and all these things I probably shouldn't know how to do, but it helped me learn as I was getting older. And then which, basically led me to where I am today, where I look at it from an ethical side, which is the services that, I try to offer customers, and is like, how can I protect you from being in that situation? And, but yeah, just knowing that I could get on my neighbor's computer, see what they were doing, get on your phones and read your text messages or any of those things, was just fascinating to me, but never thought about consequences. So, which is the hardest part.
Right.
What kind of consequences did you run into?
Well, it's kind of funny, I didn't really have any consequences at that time. Um, so it went to my head, and that was one of the things that, as growing up, my entitlement level went through the roof. Like, I was invincible. I moved to Missouri. Like I said, in 2006, I was living in downtown, just like living up life. Had sold my company in Tennessee, and was like, I'm going to come up here and just figure out what I'm going to do. And I ended up doing some computer work on the side here and there. And I met a guy, and he was an active duty Air Force. And he's like, "I can get you a job on base. You come out here and, try to get a computer job out there." Well, I was like, "I don't want just any job. I see what they have." And it ended up being technology for Air Force One security testing and stuff. So I applied, got the job, got my clearance for the government, and next thing I know, I'm testing products that was going to be used in virtual labs for Air Force One technology styles and working on software. So I actually
So you were trying to make them unhackable.
unhackable. Yeah. So
Nice.
my goal is everything can be broke.
Mhm.
And if I can break it first and we can see what the risk is and the value in that risk, we at least know going into it. So if you put your intellectual property behind it, here's how it can leak out. And so learning that in the Air Force side, it just kept driving my knowledge to where, dude, I didn't care what the task was. I'll do it for you.
So,
Uh,
so that ego went even higher then at that point.
yeah. So
It's invincible.
Yeah.
well, and that was the problem. Like, I became so self-centered around my work that I forgot about the things that are important to me. And I grew up very family close, and I got married here in St. Louis with two children, and but my work became me. That was all I could think about. It's my only focal point, and all I cared about is how much could I make and keep going from there. And it was like there was never enough. And so so that just kept driving the entitlement, the ego, and at that point, um I thought I could accomplish any task. It didn't even have to be IT related. So that's when I started venturing off into other items as well. So just kind of a backstory a little bit on that, was talking about getting to the level of not being, on top. Um, Back in 2011, my brother was hit head on by a drunk driver high on cocaine at 9:30 in the morning, and he became quadriplegic from that. And they didn't expect him to really live through the accident. And from there, I thought I could pull off anything. So I actually flew into Tennessee, took out my MX card, and had him flown to Barnes Jewish Hospital here in St. Louis. I found an airline out of southern Missouri here that actually had a doctor and a nurse, and they picked him up out of ICU and brought him to another ICU in mid plane. And they did surgery on him in midair, kept him alive, and got him up here. And he basically got to spend another 7 years with me before he passed. But during that time, I wanted to create everything possible to make his life like still usable. So I was learning IoT devices, how to, this is before Alexa really took off. Just like how he could come and tell the sports channel to come on, or turn the lights on. And then I put an elevator in his house. And so I started doing all this stuff. Well, that required money. So that required me to focus more and more hours, work, work, work. And during that time, um, made some unwise decisions. Got invested into the cannabis industry out in Oregon. Um, and, so that was basically,
And that's before all this was legal.
yeah. So this was,
It wasn't legal in Oregon either, right?
no, not
Or
really.
not yet, right?
No, we were, I was actually helping with trying to apply for the license and things in Oregon. And they had some small rules where you could grow like 6 plants and do these little things here and there. And basically,
So how did you get involved?
well, I got involved with the family member. So he was um, my brother-in-law. Great guy. I mean, some people wouldn't say that, but still admire him today in a lot of ways and stuff. And um, but what really drawn me to him is during my brother's accident, Brian gave me everything I need to make sure Kelvin got what he needed where he was needed. So that led me to want to help him more.
Sure.
And so that's where I kind of adventured off. But at the same time, I was still thinking, I can do anything. Invincible. And, that mindset caught up to me, at some point. So in 2019, I was arrested about a week and a half before Christmas.
So
Uh,
you started this in 2011 and then until 2019. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty solid run.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
It's a
so-
run.
Yeah. So,
And
yeah.
What was your involvement?
So at my point is I owned all the property that
That it was that
they were
they're
growing on. So they gave me a conspiracy charge because I was aware of it. In fact, I applied for all the licenses. So my name was
Yeah.
on
Mhm.
pretty much.
Doesn't
every-
look good, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't look good at all. So
If you applied for the licenses and had them, I mean, did you not have the licenses to grow?
we didn't have the license to grow at the level of
They
Oh,
were.
of
gotcha.
process. And so, and I learned a lot after I got arrested because I really didn't know a whole lot. I'm not going to play naive or dumb. I own up to my mistakes, and those are things they're stepping stones. And but basically, um, I learned that we were flying it all over the country, and we had a transportation needs of moving them in cars and planes and everything else to where it was actually on my paperwork. It was referenced me as a cartel drug dealer.
Really?
And so I was facing 24 years of prison. So that was what I got kind of an eye awakening moment in 2019. I said that morning we were supposed to leave, take the kids to a Disney cruise, and I guess they thought I was maybe leaving the country.
Mm.
And
Oh,
so they made sure to
That you
uh,
didn't
Get you
leave.
before you got on the boat.
yeah, just
Oh man.
And,
In front of your kids?
no, they were Jen took them to school that morning, and I was actually going down to do some consulting in downtown St. Louis. So they waited till I got to downtown. They followed me from Eureka to downtown. And basically they stopped me, and they put me in these lovely shackles they have, and so around your ankles, around your hands, and you waddle back to a patrol car, and the next thing you know, you're in a federal marshal's facility.
What's that feeling like?
I don't know how to explain it because like your whole body just goes numb, and your thought process is no longer there. Like, I have ADHD. I know I do, but I had no thoughts. And I remember sitting there going, I kind of know why this is happening, but I don't know why this is happening because I wasn't, I knew things, but I wasn't thinking at that level. And I had no idea why I'm sitting in this room, um, being told that I was going to stay in this room. And so it freaks you out. I mean, it's like the whole bottom of your body drops out. I mean, you've had that feeling where you've been scared. Well, this is like frightening scared. Like,
Well, do they do like the good cop, bad cop routine in there, or how's that? What's that look
so
like?
there was one, there was two officers in there, I guess, are federal marshals, and they didn't really do that. They basically said, "Hey, if you'll tell us everything, this will be easier on you." And I was like, uh,
Snitches get stitches, bitches.
it's just kind of like looking at him like, uh, "Can I have a phone call?" That's all I could say. And he slid me my phone over, and I was like looking at it, going, "What do I call?" And at the time, I had been working on the cannabis license in Missouri legally, you know, filing for permits and everything. And we actually, won some transportations, but we let some of the other stuff go because, I got charged after that point. And
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt, but so at this point, what are they charging you with, or do you know what you're being charged with yet,
no, I
or
was
do you know
just
why you're
told,
there?
that I was, I had a warrant for my arrest and that I was,
But you didn't know
And you
what
had
it was
no clue
for.
that
I
this
had
is
no clue.
Okay, so
And
you're just
I
wow.
mean, there's
Sure, you're like,
there's
okay, I'm
trigger
probably
points going off.
what do they get me for? What am I
Yeah.
in here
And
for
it's like,
exactly? Yeah.
what do they really know?
Did I hack the wrong
Yeah, did
thing,
I
or
yes, or did I is
wait,
it the
the weed?
what is
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Wait, what?
And those are the things like going, okay, like I've not leaked out any government secrets. I'm not, like
Yes.
Mhm.
you're trying to run these things through your head, but in a way,
Sure.
and
I mean, so you were aware of how much they were growing up there.
actually, no. I found out more that the amount after I got my papers that they accuse is equivalent of like 300 pounds a week. Um,
Oh my gosh.
so, um, but
That's a lot of weed.
I don't. We never made it all the way through trial to actually. So we ended up.
Well, but I guess my thing is like, yeah, you filed for the paperwork, but you filed it thinking that you file it knowing that they were gonna grow more than what you had on the
No,
licenses.
I was at first. I was, and I talked to multiple people, so I didn't really have a good direction of it. And I'm not saying that I was steered wrong, because I can't say I'm dumb.
Right.
I have I can play dumb if you want me to, um, but the plan was to grow it, sell it, set up a whole thing in Oregon, and then we were going to repeat the same process here in Missouri, which is why. And then I wanted to go to Tennessee and some other states as well, because at the time I actually took a break from IT a little bit and went to California, got certified as a horticultural grower, um, and actually learned how to build the custom labs for growing and just and taking the process and making it into edibles. And but my focus was around still in my mind back toward my brother because I wanted to make things to make pain go away and heal, how to remove the THC and focus on some of the other products inside of it that the cultivar has.
Sure.
So that was where my mindset was like, I can build these labs, I can learn more, and look at the profit
Yeah.
off these things.
It's all good thing other than
Yeah,
it being federally illegal.
yeah, other than federally illegal. But yeah, back to that room. I was like, I have an attorney. Like this is who's helping us with our legal. So I just called him and I was like, you know, I won't say his name just because I
Yeah,
don't want
sure.
to.
You're good.
But and I was like, I need help, and he's like, where are you at? And I told him what I thought I was in, and he's like, I got a guy, just hang tight. I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere. Don't feel like. But as I was ending the call, and I still to this day don't know why, but I kind of do. I just remember taking my phone and going settings, general, erase, and erased my entire iPhone, and then just laid it back over to the detective. And So I basically just wiped my phone and slid it back over to,
Right there in the room.
yeah,
Just
right in the room.
right in
And
the
I
room,
was just
tampering with
thinking,
evidence.
I was just thinking, ouch, did you just do that? And I was just like, yeah. Like,
I
here
can't believe they
my,
didn't catch you do it. Like, yeah,
yeah. And it was, but I guess he just,
yeah. Thought you were hanging up the call. Or
yeah,
whatever.
but didn't say a word to me. I was, during that time afterwards, I spent about 4 days in Jennings holding cell, which is a lovely place if you ever want to go visit. Everyone was super nice to me.
Sandwiches were good.
Yeah, the bologna sandwiches are great.
Yeah. So have you ever been arrested before this?
No, never. In fact, I've got family in law enforcement, so I was, at one time even wanted to pursue down
Law enforcement.
law enforcement route, but that's kind of out of the window now.
Yeah.
Of course, they may need help soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
So that your first few days was fine. All right. What was that like getting? put in
no,
that
actually, I
cell?
was terrified.
I'm sure. Yeah, right.
Have you had a chance to call your family at this point?
No.
So you're just disappeared before a trip, and they're like, "What the?"
Yeah. So
what was your wife thinking at the time?
so the attorney was able to. Well, she was being searched and held at the house for about 6 hours while they went through the attic and all my tools and everywhere to look for the alleged money that we have, and
which wasn't there.
which
right?
wasn't
Yeah.
there. I mean, and so she dealt with that, which was a big trauma, and that I'll
Sure.
never forget, and I know she won't either, which is unfortunate. And but basically, I wasn't really allowed much to anything other than I had that talk with my attorney, and he's like, "Well,
Hang tight.
hang tight, and how can you pay me?" Because at the time they froze everything. Not only anything that had my name on it was frozen. They took my car, her car, all of our bank accounts. They froze credit cards. They froze anything that was attached to my name. I had an account that had my brother's life insurance policy in it where he passed away. They seized all that. So now, and I get it.
Yeah.
That's their process. But when an attorney's like, "Hey, can you come up with I don't know, $10,000-$20,000?"
After all your money's frozen. Like,
how
what
do
do you do?
How do you pull that off? And
Let me call my buddies in Oregon. Real
yeah,
quick.
yeah, it's like,
Some phone calls to make.
can you get my phone back? I erased the numbers.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it was an experience that I don't wish upon anyone. But it don't go away. Like no matter how long. I mean, I know it's 2019's been a few years back, but you remember that experience and that episode over and over. And it's sad. I still watch cops and different TV shows and stuff, but it's like you relive it. Like you're sitting and watching some movie. It's got a jail cell in it. And like, I was sitting in that. I sat on that cold floor. I laid on that bed during that time, which was also starting COVID.
Yeah.
Do you like panic a little bit? Do you get a little bit of anxiety when you see stuff
I did.
like that?
They ended up prescribing me an anxiety medicine because it spiked my blood pressure.
Weed?
No, no weed. I was heavily drug tested a lot. But everything comes to a stop at that point, and you have no idea what you're up against. So they finally let me go after like 4 days. And they put me on an ankle monitor and they told me I could go home. And I was like, well, I need to go to work. And they're like, well, you work for yourself. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, you can't do that. You have to have a job. And I was like, who's going to hire me with an ankle monitor? So basically I spent about 2.5 months freaking out at home. I couldn't even go out on the front porch. It would set it off.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
So, and
Couldn't even go outside.
so I watched the kids for 3 months play out in the snow and different things.
You get more out time actually being in jail.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
crazy.
the problem, our house was a ranch style house.
Mhm.
I couldn't go everywhere in the house because it was too far.
Really?
So it's just because of the way it was laid out. It's not like it
Oh.
was huge. It was just the layout style. Like if I'd go down the stairs and try to go across the basement,
It would beep.
I would get a warning.
Now,
Oh,
how do
man.
they do that? Is it like a monitor or a like a router or something that they put in like the middle of the
Yeah.
house and it's
So
got like a radius? Is
yeah,
that how it
and
goes?
when I turned it on, or the probation officer turned it on, we weren't allowed to touch it or move it. So she's like, I need it to be where your kids can't touch it or anything. So I had to put it up on a shelf, kind of high up, and that was the central
Stuck.
hub.
Yeah.
So that was my radius. So I was like a dog on one of those
Yeah.
collars
You can only go so
Mm.
far. Yeah.
that I could only go left and right,
Yeah. You
forward and
eventually
back.
figure out where your borders are. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess I can't go use
Yeah.
the back bedroom.
I know.
You know,
It's like,
like,
no going to the basement in certain areas. And,
yeah.
and it couldn't go out on the back porch.
How would they know if you moved it? Like, just pick it up and carry it with you everywhere you went.
It's probably plugged in, right?
I'm sure I would say it's a proximity sensor of some
Gotcha.
sort that be
Yeah.
like tampered, because every time they'd come visit me, which was quite often, they'd make sure I didn't tamper with the ankle monitor, cut it, move it. They'd check. I guess they're looking for dust.
Did you ever like tell them like, hey, do you think we could bump the radius up out of here so I can
yeah,
step on the
they
back
said it was
porch?
preset. So
Mm.
Like, hey, I can't go in my basement, right?
Yeah. So
Like, wow. So okay, so you spend the 4 days, then you get put on house arrest for 3 months. What are you like awaiting a trial or like how?
waiting trial.
Okay.
And that ended up being a whole year wait because of COVID.
On house arrest?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So you stay.
Finally got a little bit of leeway. Like my attorney and I, we flew out to Wyoming to Cheyenne, met with federal judge, and like Jeff's got to go back to work, or they're going to lose even everything else. And so he
So
finally
were your accounts frozen that whole time?
do what?
Did they freeze? Did your accounts all remain frozen?
Yeah.
So like even like all your wife's.
Yeah.
everything?
So at the time, she'd even taken the year off right before I got arrested because she was struggling with some things that she was going through. And so for us, there was no income. And, I had bills to pay.
Yeah, of
And
course.
so finally got back to work, consulting. I hate to say that I played the system, but I basically had the companies hire me to build out cannabis facilities during COVID. So I was designing and building and training individuals on how to build cannabis warehouses to grow in. Uh, Now, they said I couldn't be in the cannabis industry, but I was just a construction consultant.
Right.
So I,
A little loophole there.
it worked.
Yeah, for
Maybe
sure.
I shouldn't say that on the air, but
Yeah.
but I I did it honest. I paid taxes. I went to work. But the problem is, I went to work like I was always going to work. Like, and go back to what we said earlier, I worked. And I wouldn't come home for like 7 straight days. I would just work, 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 trying to make as many hours, much money as I could, because all I could see on that paper was you're going away for 24 years. And that was still in my mind. And my attorney is like, yeah, they're charging you for, you know, uh, sophisticating and everything else. They're going to tie you with money laundering. They're going to hit you with everything because it goes with the drug charge. And so basically, you're looking at 2 counts. Plus, they said it was sophisticated, and I was like, "How's it sophisticated?" I was like, they were like, "Well, you had a company that you were trying to hide everything." And I was like, "The company was my name. It was Jeffrey Fillers LLC." Like,
I'm hiring myself.
Yeah.
I was like, "It
Real
wasn't
sophisticated.
or is that the slick way to do it?"
Yeah.
So it basically so I'm working and working and working, and then finally, I'm meeting with my attorney. We're going back. I'm trying to do everything right, trying to do, compliant. I kept flying out, meeting with DOJ and, DEA and everything. They're meeting and they're talking to me, and they're like, if you could just tell us something, we could go easier on you. I'm like, you already know more than I know. Like, I read your discovery. Like,
I just own the land. I got the licenses.
I was like, I don't know these people. Like, and I was like, what do you want me to tell you? And they're like, well, tell us more about this person. I was like, I don't know that person. And they're like, they were like, well, we want to help you. And I was like, I want you to help me too, but
Right. Yeah, I don't know anything.
I don't know anything. And, so, and obviously I know the place they were in, the guy kept saying, I know what you do for a living, like in the years that we monitored you, we have no recordings of you. Everything was encrypted. Everything was this like, and I was like, yeah, and in fact, the one time I flew out, they brought my laptop in, which, they seized, and they were like, we've had this in the lab. We thought it'd be easier if you cooperate and unlock it for us so we could go through your computer. And I was like, yeah, and I'm very happy to cooperate, my attorney was encouraging me to.
Mhm.
And the guy is like, well, here's the paperwork, fill it out, write down the password. I was like, we don't need to write it down. I'll just tell it to you, in this room of people. And we can turn it on right now and you can validate it. And then he turned it on. I was like, well, first you just press 1 on the keyboard and then press enter. And he pressed 1 and enter and it came on and he's just looked at me. I was like, I don't like to keep my stuff too secure, and, but I was laughing in my head and, my attorney was kind of getting on me. I was like, you guys have had this for 3 months and you couldn't figure out my 1-digit password.
Right.
And maybe they didn't try,
Right,
but it was just in my head. I was thinking, 1 digit's secure than 25.
Right.
Right.
I could have hacked this shit, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm an ethical hacker. Do you want me to get
Yeah.
into this for you?
So, so there's that. So basically, I ended up pleading to an 8-year plea deal. I was going to go away for 8 years. Bought a one-way ticket to Wyoming because that's where my case was out of. Which
Like, so you were doing, it was in Oregon and you were here in Missouri, but it was in
Yeah.
Wyoming. Here.
So basically I flew a one-way ticket, got in front of the judge, and he basically he let me talk about how remorseful I was and everything, and I said what I had to say, and he's like, I'm going to sentence you to 40 months, and I didn't understand it, I'm still
In 40 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was still just staring and like, and it was over, and I'm still just standing there looking at my attorney. I was like, happened? He goes, well, he sentenced you to 40 months and he told you to go back home for 45 days and spend it with your kids. I was like, I didn't get any of that. Like, I was zoned on the 40. It was all I could
Yeah.
hear was 40. And I was like, I'm going away for life, kind of like, and then, at that point, you kind of tear up, like, I'm going home,
Yeah. Weren't expecting you bought a one-way ticket.
Yeah, so I ended up buying a ticket to get back home, and so at that point, I'd already stopped working. Here I'm home for 45 more days. Kids are in school, so it's not like I'm spending really any time with
And
them.
you still got the ankle monitor and all that stuff on? Or
No,
not at this point?
at this point you're done, and they're like, well, you'll get a letter in the mail with what prison you're going to turn yourself into, and you have to be there at that time. And so you're waiting for a letter to show up to tell you what's next.
You're like, God, I hope that letter never comes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it got
And
lost in the mail. You know how
Yeah.
the USPS is.
Wow.
so, and at the time I was thinking, I'm going to go to Marion, Illinois, because, it's right over here, a couple hours away. What's 2-3 hours?
Yeah.
No, I get a letter saying that I'm going to Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama. And there's a federal prison there, and that's where I'm going to turn myself in, and I got to be there in there's I don't know, 14 days or something after from the letter of receiving it to.
And you, at this point, how long were you already home for? 45 days?
Yeah. So, so basically, I got the time with my family and the kids, which was great, but
What was that time like? Like, how, that you're getting ready to go away for 3.5 years. What are the conversations with the kids? Like, how old are they at this point?
so I want to say So it's basically 7 and 9.
Okay. So
Um,
old enough to know what's going on.
kind of sort of, and I'm not saying they didn't understand, but I had the conversation with them the first night I came home from the Jennings jail before all this, that dad's messed up, dad's been arrested, dad's going away, kind of statement. And I continued to reiterate that during that whole time before I left. And we talked about it a lot. And I know it was miserable for them and, for everyone else. But I tried everything possible in my mind how to stay focused. And like I Googled everything. I think I covered to the end of the internet looking for answers and what to do, how to be prepared, who to talk to, like how to act in prison. Like, you see all these TV shows
Right.
like, "Ah, I'm 5'7". I'm gonna get my butt beat like bad. Um, and it's like I can do this. And then one day I'm like, man, I could leave the country. Like, but that never, a lot of people asked, did you ever think about fleeing? But it never really crossed my mind. But I was, now everyone's asking you, you're starting to think, well, should I have left the country? Yeah.
Yeah, should I have?
Yeah. But yeah, it's, you can't prepare yourself for it. And I tried to laugh. I tried to be like the happy go Jeff that I'm try to always be. And, wasn't there. You're, you're not yourself anymore because you just feel like, okay, everything you've done is gone and over.
Yes. In that time, I mean, from when you first get arrested and you're hearing 24 years, you know, for me, my first thought be my kids. Like especially if they're 7 and 9, I'm like, fuck, I am missing
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
High school graduations,
Getting
married,
married.
Possibly
college,
marriage and children.
right?
Yes.
Uh,
You come
and,
out and you've grandchildren.
yeah. And, that was the process that I was trying to dwell on, but it didn't, and, like probably at the time should have gotten help and went and talked to someone, but I carried it all on myself and just worked, worked, worked. And so as long as I had tools in my hand and I'm building and digging holes and, busting up concrete, I had no thought process of what was going on tomorrow or the next day or any of that. But as soon as I stopped, that's all I could think about was
Well,
like
so I mean, do they provide any when you're in prison? Do they provide any resources or anything like that for like mental health in terms of? I mean, because I would assume that's probably one of the biggest struggles within being in prison is the mental side of things. I mean, you're locked in a cell for what 23 hours of the day with
yeah.
1 hour of time out. Like,
So where I was at was considered low camp style prison. It's more of a work style camp, which I got fortunate for that. Um, but the first 30 days, it was still COVID, so I was quarantined for 30 days.
By yourself. Yeah.
At first week, I was in the room by myself, and then they'd bring somebody new in, and they're in my room. So when they got there, my count started over. It's supposed to only be for
7 days. 14. Yeah.
7 to 14 days. But every time someone new came in the room, my count started over. And
jeez.
so I ended up sticking through 31 days in that
Oh.
quarantine area because I kept bringing.
New people. Huh?
Yeah, every day I was just watching the front gate thinking, God, I hope another bus don't come. Because I want this count to start. I want
Yeah.
to get out of here. And, but yeah,
Also, the count didn't even start for like the time you're serving,
yeah. So,
even though you're locked up.
well, I'm sure it counted in some way, but, like I still hadn't talked to the family at all. Like, because I was quarantined, I had no phone. I had no books. No, no, like nothing was in the room yet until more
Just
people.
you and your thoughts.
Yeah.
So you get processed and immediately get like put in this room and
Yeah.
you're just stuck there for 30
Yeah, you get stripped naked and thoroughly processed, and you get handed these Afghan-looking sewn brown boxers and a T-shirt and a pair of pants and boots, and put those on, and they walk you over there. They hand you your bedding. Uh, there's no toiletry stuff really there, um, except for what somebody else left behind. And once you start getting money on your books, then you can go to commissary and buy a toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, and
Are
things
you
like
even
that.
allowed to do that while you're in
Could
quarantine?
not do that in quarantine.
So
So you
you're
just had to go 31 days.
without wiping your ass, like unless there was something already there.
Luckily, there was stuff there, and the guards were actually not bad. I finally got to where because that's how you see, I just became joking with him. Like, one guy would come in trying to show his authority, and I would just laugh at him, like, we're going to be here a while together, buddy. Let's enjoy this, like, but yeah, finally to one of the guards, I was like, listen, can you at least let my family know I'm alive? Like, he's like, I tell you what, we'll get to a phone after a while. And, finally he got me to a phone, and at least I can call and say hi. And he's like, all right, we got to get you back to, before we get in trouble. And so they try to help you. I mean, they're there just to do a job. I mean, it's not their fault.
Mhm.
Right.
But it was interesting, coming out of quarantine, going to general population is not like the movie General Population. I mean, we were basically in old barracks, like so.
Just a bunch of bunk beds.
They were bunk beds. So you got an upper, lower, upper, lower. So it was like an upper, lower desk, upper, lower desk. And so the bathroom, thank goodness, was actually a bathroom. So we had walls between the two toilets and a curtain. There was no doors. But you had this little curtain that you tried to take care of, and if somebody tore it, everybody's in there trying to fix it because
Sure.
nobody wants the curtain to be not there.
Now, were there a lot of fights or anything like that within that camp that you were in?
I saw, I personally saw probably 4 fights. Myself, I was entertained in 2 of them. Uh, so that I had to participate in.
Mm.
Entertained.
Uh, so
Now, was it just random stuff, or was there like just altercation that
yeah, it
caused?
was always like one of them that I was on the basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play basketball. Well, apparently, I wasn't the right color to play basketball, but I insisted that I played basketball. So they treated me really well, and to where they were just elbowing and shoving. I finally had enough and just took the guy out. We rolled around a little bit, and then we realized the guards are coming, and then we played basketball, and then I got to play every day after that. So I just kind of had to earn
Earn it.
Earn it.
that
Yeah.
I wanted to play ball. I didn't say I was good at it. I wanted to play.
Right.
Um, the other one was just wrong place, wrong time. You know,
Gotcha.
it wasn't. I wasn't provoking or anything. It just happened to happen. But I did see a lot of people provoke it, and so we had lockers that we protected what little bit of commissary we would buy and stuff, and they gave us a government issued padlock, which they could key and open from the back, but we
You
had
had your code.
code. So apparently, a lock and a sock will beat somebody really bad.
Oh, for sure.
And I saw a couple guys get badly beat. And when the guards come around, they were being like, "Yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night and fell," and like,
Really,
it was no,
no snitching on it.
oh no, I didn't see that. But
I mean, that's that movie Full Metal Jacket where they did it with bars of soap.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you could. I mean,
Yeah.
they took the weights away from federal prison now
That
because
makes
they were
sense.
making everybody look like animals and jacked up, and so basically what we did, we're taking a cleaning solution, 5-gallon jugs, and balancing it on a mop bucket handle and benching and curling with it. So we're
Got something to do.
Something.
Yeah.
yeah, just something to do, and then they'd take that away from us. Anything we'd find to do, they'd take away. And it wasn't like anybody was trying to make a weapon, or I didn't see any shanks or
Yeah.
any of that where I'm
Was
at.
was it a lot of more non-violent criminals that were in your?
Yeah, mostly drug and white collar style. There's a lot of
Which I'm surprised you would still see a lot of fights.
I think it's just
I think you just
Too
get a bunch
much-
of men
Yeah.
together,
too
man.
too much men in one area
That's
trying
true.
to like I went through the TV room one time, and I decided I was just going to cut through the middle, and I didn't realize how disrespectful that was to walk in front of someone watching TV. That walk around all the way around the room, along the edge of the room. You don't walk in front of people. So, you start learning respect really quick, and all that, as we said earlier, my entitlement and all that
Gone.
stuff, gone. I mean, today, none. Like I'm blessed, grateful, thankful. Like it just like take that all away. Because, after going through that, you realize you have nothing and you don't even know what you're coming home to. Uh,
Well, how did that? I mean, how did that experience change your view on accountability and discipline?
so it changed it tremendously because it allowed me to realize that I'm responsible for my own actions 100%. And I never could see that before. And it also showed me that if if I don't treat everyone with full respect and be accountable for my actions and what I'm doing, I'm going right back. And that was all I could think about. It's like, and I still think about it. Like if I mess up,
There's still an opportunity, or it's like
no, I'm done now.
yeah.
I'm no longer on papers. But just the whole thought process of like, I people approach me like, hey, I want to do this business or anything. I'm like, I don't want business partners. I don't want
Mhm.
anything anymore. Like I'm going to work just for myself or work for someone else,
Mhm.
like as an employee. Not
Sure.
my name's not going on any papers.
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you learn the hard way.
yeah.
Oh man, so how do you think? I mean, do you think prison changed you? The time now, did you spend all 40 months here? Or did you?
No, actually, I went through a program called RDAP, which is a residential drug abuse program, um, for alcohol and things, and most people probably do it just for the time off, which I did. That's the reason I signed up. But it actually was very helpful. It was not just a drug program; it was a program to actually talk about rational and irrational thoughts, and that's why we're here today. And so I took it serious. I mean, I joked while I was in there, but I still run my rules. There was the 5 rules, like, will my thoughts get me killed? Will my thoughts make me feel the way I want to feel without drugs and alcohol? And, go through that list. And it, it changed me to where I appreciate everything. And now, like, even though I still want to I'm starting my own company and doing all these things, I'm not doing it for the money as much as just what I enjoy doing. And it just made me realize I don't need the finest things of everything. I don't have to have the latest TV. I don't need a new laptop every year. I don't need a new iPhone, even though I have a new one today. It's because my other one broke. Um, but I don't have to have these things. And before I was like, I was reading it as it's coming out and I'm pre ordering it before it arrived, just to have it, to understand it, to be involved in it. And now it's like, I don't want anything except to give everything to my kids. Like, I give anything to go back and have that time that I lost with them pre arrest, through all that, all the work that I did, their pretty much their whole childhood life, um, I missed. Like, yeah, I was home on the weekends, but was I really home? Like, I was checked out into my job, my work, like constantly checking email, constantly lining up the next job, constantly looking for this. And now all I want to do is leave here and go get them and play video games with them or whatever they want to do. And that's where prison changed me, and like it allowed me to come back to my roots of the way I was raised that I forgot about when I started going to the top, so to speak, as what, you think it is, but it's not. They're like, oh, money can't buy happiness. Well, it's how you look at it, but at the same time, they're right. It's not the key to anything.
But it buys convenience.
It does. It buys enjoyment. And that enjoyment, you never get enough. your mind is just like, oh, I want more, I want more, I want more, and I never could find that more. But you seeked it. Now, I if somebody asked me to come over and dig a ditch this weekend and help him put in a sewer line, I'm happy just to go help. I mean, I'm not beneath or above or like I just like want to help everyone and be involved and that's what really started working on me mentally and physically and trying to get back after prison. I rode a 13-hour Greyhound bus back to St. Louis,
Oh
and
wow. So how many months did you, or how long did you end up serving?
I ended up serving 14 months.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So significantly less. It's great.
yeah, so the RDAP program got 1 year off my sentence. Now the catch was when I come home, if I got caught with drugs or alcohol during 3 years, I go back and serve all of my time. And so, and they told us 1 out of every 5 people that walk out of here is coming back. And they're 100% correct because I left with 4 or 5 people and 2 of them went back uh, real quick. And that statistic's still true.
And so are they coming to drug test you like regularly?
I got a drug test every week, and you have to pay for those. You have to go and spend $5 in some random facility. You call in. They say it's random, but I was just like, I got used to the guy I'd go see all the time. It was down in Union, and I joked with him. I was like, "You got the worst job ever to have to sit." Like he had a chair next to the toilet, basically.
Sit and watch
Sit
people
there and
peel.
watch people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
Just staring at dicks all day.
Yeah, your job is to hand me this cup and sit there,
Make
and
sure
you
it's
and you have
me
to
being-
drop your pants to your ankles. Like it's
So
not
like you're like a
easy.
like my 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they make you pull your shirt up too?
Yeah.
I know in pro ball we had to either strip completely naked or pants all the way down, and we had to pull our shirts up and like
Yeah.
under our chin.
Yeah, so you're basically just standing there with a cup in front of a toilet, and some dude sitting there with a old cowboy hat on, and trying to have the
In
best
his
time.
cuck chair. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's one of those things. Like today, I'm actually grateful for prison, and some people look at me when I say that, but it actually helped me become the person I am today, and that's what I'm really excited about. That's why I've been working on my consulting company, going back to what I love to do, and why I even looked at, launching thefelon.com, which, is kind of an interesting tactic
Yeah.
for me. So,
Tell me all
Yeah,
what's
we'll
all that
jump
about?
so, a lot of it had to do with politics when I come home, which is still the hot topic. And, everyone was like, the president, he's a felon, he's a felon. I'm like, well, I'm a felon. So, and I was like, I struggled so I got to the halfway house in St. Louis, which is in North County area, St. Louis, called the Dismas House.
So you
And
take the Greyhound straight there
Greyhound. I got a Greyhound to the Greyhound Center and then taxied
from there to the halfway
the
house.
halfway house. And so I was basically there for 3.5 months before I could go home. And
Could you visit your family at this time? Or?
I got a visitation pass after 30 days. Like I got to see him the day I got there. They got to come visit me there and take me to a Target and to buy whatever I needed. And then after that, I had to wait until everything cleared and passed drug tests and all those things. And while I was there, I was just looking at how hard I saw people come to the halfway house and go back to jail or prison because they couldn't meet the requirements of the halfway house. And the requirements of the halfway house was you have to get a job. Well, some of these guys, I was been down 10, 15 years. They don't even know what a smartphone is. They'd come into me and they're like, I have this Android phone. Like, I'm supposed to get on here and find a job. And you're trying to show them
How to work a phone.
and the internet.
Yeah.
And So I just kept thinking like, man, I've always wanted to be an instructor. I always wanted to teach, and do these things, but I also like the consulting income better than teaching. So I would start working with these guys, and so I got on the internet, and I was like, I want to see what domain and names are out there, and I was like, I want to buy thefelon.com, and it was available,
Wow.
and I was like, how is this available? As much stuff as people are
Right.
Right.
ramming up Trump and everything else. Like, so I bought it and I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? So I immediately created a shirt called thefelon.com. And I started talking to this company in St. Louis here that's helping me right now. Um, Basically, I wanted a merchandise store where they could go and buy the felon.com shirt. And so the slogan is like, wear the change, be the change. Um, because we're a felon. Yeah. Okay. Let's, so I wanted to take all the sales and the proceeds from it and start helping those that are getting to the halfway house, find a job, have some money to get started, go get a phone, whatever you need. And so that's, it's a slow takeoff because I'm trying to do this by myself. But, um, so my goal was on it. It's like, I learned as even after I got out of the halfway house and got back around my family and stuff, people wouldn't talk to me anymore. Like, um, my kids were going to go to this event, and the host was actually told, like, "Oh, if Jeff's going to be there with his kids, we're not coming over." And so it got to that level of
Oh
people.
wow.
It's ridiculous. And it's not like you did anything that was like,
It's
it
not like
was
you
all
killed
not,
somebody.
yeah, it was all not and non-violent,
I
like,
know,
That
yeah,
and
you own the land where the drugs
Yeah.
are being produced.
and my whole charges, and whatever is still conspiracy. So I wasn't the dealer. I wasn't
Right.
selling.
You were not involved in any of like the drugs. You
Yeah.
just had the land that they were doing it on.
And, so it was just difficult that people were treating my family that way.
Like
So,
that scarlet letter.
yeah. And that's when I started really focusing on the felon.com, learning, saying, hey, um, we're staying forever. And whether you get pardoned or not or whatever, the community don't forget. Like, I live in a small, I grew up in a small town, but I didn't realize that St. Louis was a small
Oh,
town.
oh yeah.
Like it's where you went to high school and, oh, you're a felon.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be around my kids because I can't coach my kids' sports because I'm a felon. You can't sign up. I can't pass. I can't volunteer at school because I can't pass. I can't
The
pass.
background checks.
I can't pass anything.
Really?
So I can't volunteer on volunteer day for parent help at school. I can't go out on the baseball field and coach baseball. I can't.
Can't vote.
I feel like there's
Can't
some
carry a
sort.
firearm.
Right. You're not allowed to vote.
I can.
Oh,
I
you
can
can?
vote
I
again.
I
Of
thought
course, they
felons
want me to vote.
Right.
They pay you to vote.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
but
thought the felons couldn't vote.
but it was
Is that like is that only some people?
I don't
I don't know how that
know if
works.
it's certain states or whatever, but I was told
I've
I
just
could.
heard that before. I don't know.
Was there
Um,
different levels of being a felon?
no, I'm felon
Like
is
felon.
Yeah, I think
like
if you get charged with a felony,
Yeah.
you're a
Right.
felon.
yeah.
Depending
I'm
on
a.
the felon.
I mean,
I just figured that there would be like a non-violent felony.
now there
or
is
like,
violent and non-violent.
I would figure like non-violent would be a little bit different than
Yeah.
having a violent felony against yourself.
Yeah, and
That would open you up to be like, hey, let's dive into this. All right, what was the felony? Oh, he owned land. Okay,
Yeah.
you're fine to volunteer at your kid's
Well,
school.
you would think it'd be the same for everything,
Right.
but I came home. Now, remind you, like I said, I have 3 college degrees and
Right. How hard
20.
is it to find a job?
pretty much impossible.
Really?
Um, that was one of the reasons I knew I was going to have to go back to work for myself. I mean, I got involved in some of the investments I did was brewery and things like that. So I started
Right.
brewing beers. I started doing.
So the beer started after. Or
Well,
was that before?
I was invested in a brewery before I got arrested. So I was, it was kind of a hand in hand.
Mhm.
It was part of, some investment stuff that I was doing. And, but I learned a lot more after the fact on how to make beer and get more hands on and things like that, which was very fascinating. I'm not a brewmaster by any means. but I learned a lot, the process of making beer and got to assist in making some things that, that we've had
Mhm.
here even.
Sure.
And, but, it was more of another thing. Is like, I just added it to my portfolio of what am I going to do when I grow up? And all I could still think about is I wanted to go back to cybersecurity. I wanted to do what I was, spent lots of years learning. And, it, it, the only way to get there is I'm going to have to go back to myself. And that's one of the reasons I looked at, I started the Blind Spot Collective, which is my computer forensics, cybersecurity side. But it's a slow launch as well because I still have to provide insurance. I still got to have that 9 to 5 job that cares for me and the family bills as I build myself. And um, then I also got to find the people who wants to trust in me as well because I am an open person. I'm an open book. I've never tried to hide behind the felon. Um, and I don't see a point of hiding behind it.
I don't know.
I'm
As an employer, like if someone came to me and was like, "Hey, listen, I'm applying for this job. As soon as you look at my background check, you're gonna find something you're not gonna like, but I want to let you know up front that I am a felon. This is what I went to prison for. This is what I've learned from it." And I would think if you're upfront, open, and honest about it, and talk about it, and truly are sincere and the change, I would think more employers might be a little bit open to that.
no.
That's
I
insane,
I
especially non-violent owning land.
I
Like
applied for a job almost daily from the time I got out. I went on multiple interviews and I led with I I have a felon. And they're like, "Oh, that's no big deal. Let's keep on." I even got offered a job that I was going to start on Monday, and Sunday night got a call and said, "The owner changed his mind." And I was like, "Cause?" They're like, "Because of your felon."
okay, can I call the owner? I want to talk to him.
Yeah, and it's like I would go through multiple interviews, and every interview, it's not like I just told the first lady I met or the first
Right.
guy I talked to, like, "Hey, by the way, can you work me through?" No, I was like, I laid out my background check for you. It's like, I will provide you with a detailed copy if you'd like, because
Yeah.
I have it better than anyone. And yeah, it didn't seem like it mattered until it got to HR. And the job I end up doing now that I'm, doing, which is a great job. I When I went to HR, I totally for the interview, I said, "Can we start with HR?" Which just happened to be with HR, and I was like, "I'm a felon." She's like, "That's okay." It's just like,
Mhm.
oh wow. And I'm getting the job and I'm, doing the job and I, like my job, but it's just crazy that it took over 47 job interviews with different companies for me to land one job.
Whoa.
Now,
47.
now here's
Yeah.
the thing too. You said that that's a requirement living in the halfway house. Do they give you a list of jobs that are willing to hire felons?
There is. So
Okay.
there is a cork board when you go in, like, hey, come to this class, and there's things that you can get a job. Um, so there was a lot of factories in the area that would hire felons. There were a lot of third shift style jobs, but some of them wouldn't have openings during that week or the next week, and then some would just have no experience. They didn't even know how to work, which was unusual for me because I grew up,
Sure.
in Tennessee. We were all farmers, and
I'm just surprised that there's not programs within the prison system that, especially for somebody like, well, for like, nonviolent offenders and nonviolent felonies
so there's
that,
programs while we're there. Like
yeah.
I actually got my CDL in prison,
Oh,
so
really?
I'm a commercial truck driver.
Really?
I don't know what I'm ever going to use it for other
Right.
than I can drive the party bus.
Yeah.
But I actually did a 6 month CDL
Okay. So
course.
there are things there for people to,
Yeah,
okay.
but they only take like 6 students.
See, that's the thing is like, if you got guys that are going to be coming out, like I would feel like there's going to be guys that are coming out within, their sentences are like yours, 3.5, 4 years. Or even people that, you know, went in at a young age, didn't really know how to work, but are going to be coming out and at a working age. would think that they would have jobs set. Like, are there jobs within the prison that they can do, like working in the
So
kitchen and things like that?
so you work in the kitchen, or you work for Unicor, which makes uniforms,
Mm-hmm.
and bedding and sheeting, things like that, or you cut grass. You run a lawnmower. I actually, while I was there, I got into the wood shop, so I actually made furniture and plaques and things for the military base. So if someone was retiring, we made the plaques for them and engraved it and everything. So it was kind of crazy to think that I ran a wood shop
In
inside of a
prison.
prison.
Yeah.
Uh, but all the tools were defined, marked, and you had these little chits that you put up. It's like, I'm using a screwdriver. I'm using
Yeah,
this.
make sure it gets returned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at 3:30 at the end of the day, when they do the count,
There's a missing screwdriver there.
you're responsible. So there was a tool room. You checked out I need a hammer. I need a screwdriver. I need a toolbox. I need, so everyone was checking in and out. So, and then if you hear that call at 4 o'clock, please come back to, you're like,
The wood shop. You're like, oh boy.
yeah, I forgot to put that screwdriver away, because
Yeah.
it happens,
Sure.
you leave it laying, but at the same time, that's your screwdriver.
Right. Someone could grab it and pocket it and it's gone, and then
Yeah.
you're responsible. Sheesh. Man.
Well, what is one misconception about prison that people have that you would say that after being in there is not accurate?
A lot of people think, see, there's lots of things I wished I could just discuss about prison that people have no idea about.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, please
like,
do.
Got time.
so, I mean, I come home with high sodium because of prison, like high cholesterol, high sodium is because
Food.
The food.
food is, and it's the same food. Like, what you have on Monday is what you have every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday.
You know what day it is just by what they're serving.
Yeah. You know whether you're going to the chow or not. Like, I'm just going to eat commissary. Well, a commissary is no better. You buy beef logs, turkey logs, all
Mhm.
these like
Yeah.
prepackaged meats, or ramen noodles. Like, so,
Just salt.
I'm eating salt.
Yeah.
And once a quarter, we'd have lasagna day, and everyone would go for lasagna day. It was like, if you're not going to eat, will you go through line and get me yours too? Because
Yeah.
Mhm.
they won't let you go through twice.
Sure.
And so, people was like, yeah, all right, I'll go. It's going to cost you this or whatever, So, but, and then the things that go on behind the scenes, like, from, it's an enterprise. You get whatever you want in prison. You wanted a tennis racket to play on the tennis court? Sure. Get you one flown in by Amazon. No problem. They was a prisoner for that.
And what do you do with your tennis racket?
Well, you could own a tennis racket you could buy through commissary. But if you wanted a better tennis racket,
Yeah.
you could get one. Or you wanted better insoles, or you wanted better socks, or you wanted a bottle of Jack Daniels. Whatever you wanted, there was a guy for that in
Really?
prison. And you know, we found a guy, his name was Big Mike. He made cheesecakes and he would sell it by the slice on Saturday nights. Well, we got friends with Big Mike, me and a bunch of other guys that were in the same court. We had 2 cheesecakes, full cheesecakes made for us every Saturday for the whole 14 months, or probably 11 out of those 14 months.
Wow.
That we had a guy that would cross the yard, go into another building, grab the cheesecake, get it back to our building, and have it sitting on our desk by 8 p.m. every Saturday night. So, there's that. And I know that all these things sound like fun things, but then there's, we're eating watered down chicken and the guards are eating fried chicken and all these things. Well, on the weekends when there was hardly any guards around, there was guys that were making fried chicken and making as many as they could as quick as possible, putting them in trash bags and getting them back to the unit and selling these.
It's like pieces of fried chicken.
Yeah, fried chicken. And currency when I first got to prison was mackerels, bags of mackerel fish.
Really?
Really?
So each one of those is worth $1. So nobody really wanted to eat them, but so you'd walk by somebody's cell and see like 40 mackerels. Well, they're $40.
$40
Yeah.
richer.
Yeah. So you start seeing who had the money and
What was it?
Why mackerels?
Yeah, why mackerels?
I think it was just something that no one would eat, and it was just and then it became stamps as I was getting ready to leave. I guess so that the guards came in and did a mackerel sweep and took like if you had tons of mackerel, they came in and one day and just wiped them all out. 'Cause I guess they
And they
catch
just
on. Yeah,
and you're literally just using the mackerel as just a currency that
yeah.
you're trading.
Like
I'm
I owe
trading
you
you
a
this.
dollar,
Yes.
whatever. And
I mean,
and
it could be
then
anything. It could be playing cards. It could be stamps. It could be
yeah,
it could be
they used it for
Post-it notes.
gambling. They used it for we played bones or
Yeah.
dominoes, whatever, and everything was a bet. Like if you want to be involved in something, you better have currency.
Better have some mackerel.
Yeah,
Wow, that's crazy.
and but if you want a cell phone, get a cell phone. You get caught with it, you're being moved up to another level prison. But people still took the risk. I mean, I saw phones coming and going all the time, and then you had Cash App. Everybody was trying to borrow a phone so they could Cash App somebody else in prison so they could get commissary this week or whatever. And it was just there's a constant internet racketing, and then the amount of drugs is everywhere.
Really?
And you're thinking, how is it possible? But it was like the worst thing I saw was just I don't know if it was considered like K2 or whatever, but it's basically where they were getting pictures from somebody on the outside that had this chemical that was sprayed on it, and they would cut a corner and then they'd smoke it, and it would just take them to a level of paralyze. But it just get them so high, eventually their body would freeze, and they'd have to carry them out, and they'd look like they're playing an air guitar, but their body's locked, but their eyeballs are still moving.
What?
And like they'd get high on whatever they could find, and but look at all that. You look, they have all this education, all these classes. Well, there's no way of forcing anybody. Like they're not going to force you to take classes. So there's the ability to teach and do these things, but there's no one there coaching. Like they're there just to babysit you. They're not like, hey, you're getting out in a year. Maybe you should look at this program. Have you thought about being a carpenter? I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to go get a lawyer job, or maybe you are. So, but they had the paperwork there in the classrooms, but no one would show up to them. I taught some classes in technology and stuff. I wouldn't have any students. And then eventually somebody'd come in and they were like, well, can you teach me how to do an NFT or Bitcoin? I'm like, we're in prison. We're going to have to use paper scenarios. And
Right.
then they'd leave. Like
There's going to be a computer.
they thought I was going to just pull out a computer and show them how to
give them their own
Yeah,
laptops to take
yeah.
back to their bunk with them.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
That's crazy, man. Some of the stuff that I've heard about that always like fascinates me about prison is with the like how inventive people get with like like creating the tattoo guns with the CD player or like figuring out ways to like cook their ramen when they don't have like things like. Did you see anything like crazy like that?
yeah. So, actually, all true. So I actually got my own tattoo in prison.
Nice.
So we actually took from the one that we made in prison. So you can buy an electric razor.
Okay.
Everything's clear, which is funny. It's a clear plastic, so you can see the motor. You can see where the battery is. So we pulled the motor out, and then we take a radio. You get these little Sony Walkmans because the TVs are on FM modulators. So we would take the radio, cut two headphones, and then tape back the headphone jack on both ends. And we would utilize that to power the little motor. And we made tattoo guns out of using stainless steel rods that we'd find. And we would grind them down to a point, and then you would get calligraphy ink out of art class. because we could go to art class or whatever, and that's where the ink would come from. A lot of times would be the
Crazy.
calligraphy ink, and to make your stencil, you would actually take paper because we'd buy paper, and you'd take deodorant and soap and stencil on, pencil mark
Yeah.
and they do tattoos. Some people got full sleeves, and I mean, impressive work.
Yeah, I've seen some impressive work, and when I found out it was done in prison, I was wow, that's
Yeah,
impressive.
I
Like,
mean, I was thoroughly impressed with some of the work, and I was like, if I was going to be here long term, I
yeah,
I could come
might
up
get
with
some more.
get some more, but and, and believe it or not, we were actually very clean. Like, you take it and regrind, like, because
Yeah,
like I said, we had wood shops,
right. You have all the tools.
we had grinders out there to keep the blades sharp on the lawnmowers, so
Right.
everything was being,
Yeah, grind
and
all the old bacteria
yeah, so.
up.
And
It's
but
crazy.
yeah, it was and then for cooking, so we had irons to iron our shirts and our
Uh-huh.
pants.
Really?
Yeah, so there
That's
was a section with an ironing board, and we would take an iron and flip them upside down, and we'd cook on them. And we had the metal trash cans in our cells,
uh-huh.
so we had some that we used for trash, and we had some that we cooked in. And we'd set the iron underneath it and get it hot, and we'd boil water
Right.
and do, crazy stuff. And eventually, I think they caught on enough to where they just bought a hot water dispenser. So you can go cook your rice and like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, there'd be times when we'd be in there trying to fan out the smoke before they come to count
Yeah.
because something would get hot or melt on the iron or and but I learned how to take a full pack of flour wraps and make a pizza with it. You could make a large pizza in a microwave, y- and the top of an Ajax can that you
Yeah.
clean the floor with.
Uh-huh.
Top that off, clean it, and that's your cheese grater. So we
Dang.
would grate cheese and yeah, it was like I said, it was a learning experience of how you can do these things and survive different. But I guess the thing that doesn't amaze me, but I see is these things come in by the guards.
All the drugs and
Yeah, I
all the
mean,
stuff. Yeah.
we're not going anywhere. Like,
Right.
Mhm.
like
Oh, people aren't coming into you guys.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just not like
It's got to be someone in the prison system that's getting
yeah.
everything in there.
So they would bring phones in, and then they got paid to confiscate them as like a bonus, and then they'd redistribute or bring in more, like
Yeah. Oh
because
yeah.
there's no way. I mean, because they'd come in 30 or 40 phones at a time.
Oh wow.
It wasn't like
All of a sudden, everybody's got a phone.
yeah, it's not like, oh, there's one phone here. I mean, there was a phone everywhere. Like the places they hid phones, was just incredible. I mean, they got creative on where they kept these things. And they were getting these little mini phones that were like 1 inch by 1 inch.
Really?
And they're just these little prepaid phones.
You could like easily hide.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
you'd be surprised where people put those things.
I've got some ideas. I've got some ideas.
Bend
Um,
over and cough.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, the topics of the show: manhood, fatherhood, entrepreneurship, mentality it takes to be successful at those things. You mentioned who you were before you went into prison and who you were after prison. How did your definition of those words change from before to after?
Well, before, like I said, with the entitlement and everything I thought as long as there was money in the bank, I was being a dad. I was providing. Uh, Now I realize that I don't have the money in the bank, and I work and make ends meet. Dad is accountability and responsibility. To me, it's you know I don't need your forgiveness. I don't need your sympathy. I don't need you to feel sorry for me. I just need to own it and show my kids that I'm there no matter what. Like if they call at 2 in the morning and they need me, I'm coming. And I know my kids know that now. Like uh And I hope they always continue to know that, but I don't know that they would have known that if I hadn't changed. And that's one of the things that I appreciate getting arrested for. Uh, and I know that sounds weird, but it allowed me to show them something that I would have probably never shown them. I would have just encouraged them to go to the top. And now it's like, stay at home, be humble, and be appreciative, and let's play games and let's just laugh. And uh, if there's a bill due, we'll figure it out. Like, we'll do like everyone else in America. We'll put it on a credit card for this week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
My grandma's got a good saying, and it's something that's always stuck with me. And she says, "Money can fix it. It's not a problem."
yeah,
You know? So it's money's the way thing that's getting in the way here. We can figure that out.
yeah.
You know.
And I know today I'm still not perfect, because none of us are, and I'm still making mistakes. I still they're correctable mistakes. They're not but I'm still making things that wished I would have done better, and I'm still learning, and I'm going to continue to grow. And I said yes, I've been in my profession for over 27 years, but to me, I'm just now getting started. So I look forward to,
I feel like technology is always evolving and getting
yeah,
better. So I feel like, if you're going to continue to hack and look at those weaknesses, you're constantly having to evolve with it.
yeah, and that's one thing I enjoy about it. It's never the same. So I get to learn something every day, and I walk into a place and I scan out every risk and vulnerability as I walk in the room. Where's my exit point? Where's my entry points? I see that camera has a field of view of this. I'm starting to study, like, how can I protect myself if there was an incident? How can I get out of this building if I need to? And wonder if they know that they have this risk themselves. Like, that's just where my head keeps going back to, is like, I just wished I could walk in and say, okay, guys, if you just do this, this, and this, you'd be better off. I can't protect you. I can't block everything, but we can do these preventative steps. And, that's what I'm really trying to guide toward, and hopefully get it up and running and full blown in next few years. And, if not sooner, but I like to take my time and just enjoy the moment now.
That's awesome. Now, have you thought, now that marijuana is legal in Missouri, have you thought about growing, getting back into the growing, or are you not allowed?
Well, I guess, I mean, technically I'm done with papers and everything. Um, the judge was pretty adamant about telling me to stay away from it, so I've been pretty strong on it. But at the same time, I look at it as a consulting opportunity. I probably would try to consult, but I don't know that I necessarily want to be owner operator.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
If somebody would want to understand, and if I could help them build out the right facility or something like that, I'd be more open for that type of discussion. But yeah, just the responsibility side, I don't
I don't
have
know.
no desire for anymore. So
Well, Jeff, you got an incredible story, and we really appreciate you coming in today. I really enjoyed getting to know you and hearing everything you had to say. So thanks again for coming
yes,
in.
thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
So we do end the show the same way every time. So before we get you out of here,
Play a little game called the Tombstone Game.
Okay,
Here lies Jeff. What's it say on your tombstone?
what's it stay on my tombstone? Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Carpenter.
Carpenter.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Simple.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jeff. Appreciate you telling your
Absolutely.
story, and keep us in the loop with what's going on with felon.com and everything you got going on. So, and everybody at home, thanks you so much for tuning into this episode. If you haven't done so yet, please click that subscribe button. That would help us out a ton. Share this episode with a friend, comment what you thought below, and we will see you next time.